it's Valerie. Welcome back to another week's What's for Dinner. If you're new here, welcome. I'd love if you'd hit that subscribe button and join my YouTube family. I put out What's for Dinner videos every week, and I hope that you enjoy these 3 inspirational meals that I have for you. So let's get started. This first meal is layered Dorito casserole. I'm starting off by dicing 1 medium to large yellow onion, and yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and dice that up really quick. And then apparently on the next clip, I forgot to hit record, but I didn't want to not show you guys the rest of the meal because it was the easiest parts of this whole part, which is pretty simple, just browning your pound of ground beef and putting in your diced onions with it, as well as a couple cloves of minced garlic, and just cooking that until it's all browned and no longer pink and the onions are soft. And now I'm moving on to that bag of Doritos. I'm just going to go ahead and crush those up. And you want them not to powder, but nice chunky pieces, but no full-size chips. So yeah, so now back to this meat. I'm just gonna go ahead and stir in a packet of taco seasoning. I'm actually using this from a big container, using this Tone's taco seasoning, and then just go ahead and mix that taco seasoning in with all of your meat mixture. Next, I'm just taking this chunky salsa. This is medium, and this is from Aldi. And you're going to need about a cup of that. That's pretty much exactly what I had. Maybe I had a little extra, but I didn't measure it out because it's all I had left in the jar. So I'm just going to go ahead and use that all up. And then just go ahead and mix it in with your taco meat mixture. Next, I'm going to be adding in 1 cup of sour cream and then a can of cream of mushroom soup, and I'm just using the Aldi brand of that. And you're going to go ahead and put those 2 in there, and then you're going to go ahead and add in your cheese. And for this part of the meal, you'll need 1 cup of cheese. 2 cups total for the whole recipe, but right now it will be divided. So right now just 1, and I'm using cheddar cheese. And I wanted a little extra cheese, but I actually had exactly 2 cups of grated cheese, like not pre-grated cheese like the bag cheese, but the block that you grate, and that's what I prefer. So I did add half of that, meaning my 1 cup, and I also added a little extra from like the bag because I just wanted some extra cheese. So you'll see me mixing those 2 cheeses there. I'm sure like a Mexican blend cheese would also be really good in this. And anyway, so I'm just going to go ahead and mix that all together to combine all those creamy soups and sour cream with that taco meat mixture. Y'all, isn't this baking dish so cute? It says people who love to eat are always the best people, and ain't that the truth? But anyways, so this is a 2.5 around there quart casserole. The recipe calls for a 2-quart casserole. I just decided to use this pan. So if you are using a 2-quart casserole, I think it will fit in a little bit better than this. I had a lot of space. So for my chip amount, I should have used like a larger bag for this size dish, but it still worked out in the end. So I'm placing a third of my crushed Doritos in there. Like I said, the recipe calls for 1.5 cups each layer, but I just kind of eyed it to have a third, so I had enough. And then you're going to go ahead and place half of your meat mixture on top of those Doritos, and I'm just being careful to not disturb them too much. And once you spread that meat layer out, you're going to go ahead and add your second layer of Doritos, and then the remaining other half of your meat mixture. And the second layer of this is easier to spread out than the first one because the bottom layer with the first Doritos, they don't have anything to kind of like stick to, so they slide around a bit, and I didn't want to completely mix them in. I did want them to be the bottom layer so that they were nice and crunchy, and it worked out perfectly. So yeah, once you're adding on this other part of the meat mixture, it's way easier because it already has kind of like some glue in a sense with that other layer of meat. And so now you're going to go ahead and just top that with your remaining Doritos or crushed Doritos, and then top that with another cup of cheese. And like I was saying earlier, I still have 1 cup here of grated cheese that I grated from a block, and I wanted a little extra again, so I'm just using part of a bag that I have. I don't prefer these on the top because I don't feel like they melt in so well when you have those pre-shredded cheeses, but this girl needed some extra cheese in this. Now I'm just taking a piece of foil and I'm spraying the top so the cheese doesn't stick to it, and I placed it in there, or on there, and I'm going to go ahead and bake that at 350 degrees for 30 minutes covered. And then after that, you're going to go ahead and just take off your foil and let that cook for an additional 20 minutes to let the cheese get nice and browned and crunchy on top. And I got this off camera, but I just cut some lettuce and tomatoes to top it like a taco style. And this is a football night. We were watching some football, so I decided to make a little drink. And if you want to see me make that, just keep watching this little part here. And if you don't, just go ahead and skip ahead on that. But I've got this like mango chili, like, I don't know, like kind of like a paste, and I went ahead and rimmed my cup with that. And now I'm pouring this new product I recently found. My friend found it and she brought it over for me, and it is like tahine. I don't know if you've ever had tahine, but it's like a chili powder. And this is a liquid version, so I also rubbed some around the rim of that. And now I'm going to go ahead and put the powder version on top of that, just sprinkling it on top. And I'm using this Golden Road Melon Cart beer. It's super tasty, very fruity, but nice and light and crisp. It's just super good. So I'm going to go ahead and just pour that in my glass and enjoy that because it tastes really good with that rim dip stuff. It's almost like a little bit of a spicy candy with a nice beer. It's pretty good. Try that out if you like things like that. And here is that casserole out of the oven, nice and browned, and she's all bubbly. And we just went ahead and served this up, and I'm kind of trying to show you here, but it's not the best. I'm trying to get some new camera angles for you guys. I'm not so great at this, but I am trying to learn, okay? So bear with me on that. And this isn't the most appetizing looking meal maybe, but it was really, really good. And I put some sour cream with that lettuce and tomato. I also put some mild sauce, like the Taco Bell sauce on that. That was really, really good. And that was dinner, and it was amazing, and we hope that you enjoy that as much as we did. This next meal is egg roll in a bowl. So I'm not going to be following the exact recipe here, and I'm going to, that asks for carrots and a cabbage that you cut up or grate. And I'm going to be cheating by using a bag of coleslaw already prepared, but I do like extra carrot, and I had a lot of carrots to use up, so I'm grating a little bit of extra carrot there for some additional vegetable, plus I love it. And now I'm going to go ahead and cut up my onion. I believe this is just one medium to large yellow onion. I kind of just eye the amount that I like versus how much meat I have. And I'm also going to be grating the ginger that's needed in this recipe. I believe it just asks for like a half a teaspoon to a teaspoon of ginger. I just kind of eyed that as well. I probably am more on the teaspoon side of that. And I also do it from frozen. I freeze my ginger and I grate it, and it works perfectly. So now I'm just taking my large skillet over medium heat, and I'm going to go ahead and add in my ground turkey to that. If you need any oil, go and add a little tablespoon there for yourself. I'm not sure if I really needed that, but I might have given it a little spritz. And just cook your turkey until it is pretty much all the way cooked through and not much pink remaining in that at all. And I'm also using my meat chopping tool to kind of break that up. And then once that turkey's done, I'm just going to go ahead and push that over to one side of my pan. And I'm going to place another tablespoon of oil here into that open side of my pan. And I'm going to go ahead and add in my chopped up onions and just go ahead and let those saute for just a few minutes. And then after a few minutes, I'm going to go ahead and add in those shredded carrots that I did grate, and then maybe a few cloves of garlic that I minced, and then that teaspoon of ginger that I have. You can use the half a teaspoon that the recipe calls for. It also only calls for 1 clove of garlic, and I'm pretty sure I used about 3. And I'm just going to go ahead and mix those all together, and you're going to let those saute for an additional 2 minutes. And then after those couple minutes, you're just going to go ahead and stir your vegetables and your turkey together. And then you're going to go ahead and add in a 1/4 cup of chicken broth to the pan to just deglaze that bottom of the pan. And then I'm going to go ahead and add in this 14-ounce bag of coleslaw, and I slightly stirred that in. And then I'm going to go ahead and add in 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, as well as 2 teaspoons of apple cider vinegar, and then a 1/2 teaspoon of salt and a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. And then go ahead and just give that all a good stir. And you're going to go ahead and cover that with a lid and reduce your heat to a medium-low and let that cook for about 12 to 15 minutes or until the cabbage is tender. For me, it was good about 12 minutes. And then once that was done, I'm going to go ahead and add in some sesame oil. I believe it called for a teaspoon, and I believe I added 2 teaspoons because I like some additional sesame oil flavor. I also just cooked up these little frozen pot stickers, nothing fancy. I just steamed them with some water, and I made some instant pot rice, white rice, just to go as another side with this. And yeah, so then I just placed some of that rice into my bowl, and I just topped it with this tasty ground turkey and cabbage. Wanted some additional toppings, so I cut up some green onion, and I made a little sauce, but I didn't show it on camera because I was all out of mayo pretty much. So I just put together some like mayo and sriracha. But yeah, and I drizzled that on top. I put it in a bag, and then I just cut the corner and drizzled that on top. Put those green onions, and then in my salad like toppings, I found these wonton strips, and I thought they'd be really great on this, and they were. They added that perfect nice little crunch that you want. And I even topped it with some sesame seeds and put my little pot stickers in there. And this meal was so good. Like, we loved it a lot. This is my type of meal. Like, I love Asian style meals, so I love this. It was really good. It had so much flavor. This last meal is garlic Parmesan crusted salmon. I'm starting off with these 4C panko breadcrumbs in like a plain flavor, like no added seasonings. And I'm going to go ahead and add a 1/4 cup to my medium bowl, as well as a 1/4 cup of grated or shredded Parmesan cheese. And I'm just using the bagged kind here because it's what I had on hand already open. Then I'm going to add a 1/2 teaspoon of Italian seasoning and go ahead and just mix that all together. And now I'm going to go ahead and take 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter. I actually would have preferred to use salted, so the recipe said not to, so I followed it, but I would have liked to. So I went ahead and just melted that in a small bowl, and now I'm going to go ahead and add in my minced garlic. They said to use 2 teaspoons. I just used about 4 cloves worth, and I mixed that all together. And then you're going to just combine it with your breadcrumb mixture and mix that all together. Next, I'm taking my baking sheet, and I just went ahead and placed like a silicone baking mat in the bottom there. And now I'm placing my salmon on top. You'll need about 1 pound of salmon fillets. Yeah, so I'm just going to go and place those on there, and I'm taking a paper towel to just remove any excess moisture from the tops of the salmon. Next, I'm just seasoning those salmon fillets with some black pepper. The recipe, again, like I said, said not to add any additional salt because the Parmesan was salty. So I'm just adding some garlic powder on top of these. I do feel like I would have preferred a little bit of salt at least. But yeah, it still worked out. So now I'm going to go ahead and just spoon that panko cheese mixture on top of each fillet of salmon and just kind of press it down. I'm attempting to avoid not getting too much on the baking sheet. 1, because I want all my cheese to be on my salmon, of course, and 2, because I just don't want all the black little charred bits all over my baking mat. So I tried my best to kind of scoop them all on there, as you can see. And you're going to go ahead and bake this at 400 degrees for 12 to 15 minutes. I believe I checked mine at about 13 minutes and it was good to go. Of course, it's going to depend on the thickness and size of your fillets of salmon. And I'm just going to make my favorite Asian chopped salad kit as a side for this. I think it really complements salmon very well. There is those salmon fillets out of the oven, a little close up for you. And I also made some brown rice to go with this on the side, and this was really, really good. We love salmon, so this was great. I just needed some flavor, so I went ahead and added some lemon on top of my salmon, and that made it amazing. So thanks so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future What's for Dinner videos, and I hope you all have an amazing week.